The modern DAP, it's not something that I've actually leaned towards to. It's not something that I've really wanted, but it seems that everyone is making a very similar sort of touchscreen related DAP. This, of course, is the Audiocular Nexus, which has recently launched. And thank you to the folk at Concept Cart for sending me this demo unit and making this review possible by doing so. Now, you must be wondering why I do have 3 different music players behind me. I'll get into that real soon. But for now, let's quickly talk about the Nexus and what you get in the box. The unboxing experience is fairly straightforward. You do get a fancy looking box. It's a very nice print of this product. And when you pop it open, you get everything you need. That being the player itself, the literature, as well as the USB-A to USB-C charging cable. It is recommended that you only use this cable to charge it up if you don't want to damage the battery, because it's very specific to how everything is balanced within this device. So I would recommend using this. It is a nice long enough cable, so you don't have to worry about any short cables, and it's not going to be difficult to charge it up with this. Now, something that I find very strange that I feel that Audiocular should polish up their game with is I don't see the name of this product anywhere on the box. In the front, it just says Audiocular. It shows the picture of the product. Even at the back of the box, it's just the brand name and it says high resolution music player. I don't see Nexus written anywhere here. For that matter, it's not even on the literature. So if I'm being honest, when I was figuring out what folder to put this in my computer before shooting content, I had to actually search for what this product was on the Concept Cart website. So, I mean, I understand that Audiocular is trying to be, a lot more upmarket with a product like this, but there are definitely ways they could be a lot more polished, and this is certainly one of them. Moving on to the device itself, well, it is definitely a very nice looking product. It feels good in the hand too, because it's got a little bit of heft to it. There's a good amount of weight to it, and it does have this sort of metallic finish all around. So it is definitely a premium looking product. I'd say a lot of people will definitely think that this is, at least twice or thrice the price when they handle it for certain. Now, you do get this large 4.02 inch touchscreen, which is great, but you also do get a few tactile controls. So here, what's really cool is a little knob that lets you control the volume. Now, it does have a little bit of a tactile feel, but I do wish it was a little more sort of prominent. It's sort of a very delicate feeling tactile feedback. And then, of course, you got these tactile buttons for the power on. There's a little reset button over there in that hole there. You've got next track, previous track, and a play pause button as well. Moving on to the bottom, you do have the USB-C charging port, which is great, and a little micro SD slot for putting your FLAC files or whatever music you have over here. Now, this does support up to a 512 GB chip, which I think is a pretty good amount. And when you go upwards, you do have 2 outputs. One is the 3.5 mm output, and you also do get a 4.4 balanced output, which I think is a super powerful output. In fact, they've done a very good job with the hardware. I'll talk about that in the chapter about sound. Moving on to the back, you do get the Audiocular branding, and you do see Android Hi-Fi audio player. Again, there's no Nexus written on this, so I find it very strange that they've done that. And overall, usability wise, well, this touchscreen is fairly responsive. I have found certain times where it's not responded to my touch, so I've had to, sort of re-input something or go into something a second time when, it just sometimes can take a little more time to respond, but it does work on Android 12, so you get most of the things you need. So what's provided is all these apps you see on screen. You do get your streaming stuff. It's cool that they've got Hibi Music, Tidal, VLC, of course, is a nice welcome to this device. But you also do get a whole bunch of other stuff like your gallery and your video option, and like these are things that I genuinely don't feel are needed on a dedicated music player, but there you are. So you, of course, do get Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all that. It does broadcast even in LDAC if that's something you do intend on doing. So, of course, if you do want to pair these with your higher end headphones or earphones that have LDAC, you can do that as well. So moving on to the sound, I have paired this with the Hyde's MP145 Pro, which is a fantastic planar set of IEMs. It's a very good performer by itself, but I was pleasantly surprised with how this was able to drive it. Now, the MP145 Pro is definitely a very transparent sounding set of planars. It's a very good performer, which is why I decided to pair it with this. And I did do a little A/B testing with another little piece of audio gear I have, which is the Rose's Elsa RZ550. Very cool, a little portable DAC amp. I'd say the DAC chip used in this is pretty clean. It's pretty neutral. It's certainly pretty resolute. The detail and image you're able to get out of this player, I'd say, is pretty good for the price. But I will say at the same time, if you're able to get, let's say, another player that's a little more expensive, I'm talking about a portable one, chances are that that brand has spent more R&D and money on something like that. But again, this for the price is a good performer. Where it does wow me more though is in the overall power output. As an amp, this thing is surprisingly a very good player. I think the output for the 3.5 might be sitting at about 125 milliwatts, whereas the output of the balanced is a full 500, which is crazy powerful. So talk about headroom, this has it. So when I was listening to the high-dis IEMs, I wasn't really going past the 20-25% volume while adjusting it from the knob, because it can get way too loud over there. So I think as an amping unit, this is certainly very good. As a DAC unit, it does leave me a little bit wanting, because the imaging I'd say is fine, but it seems a little restrictive when it comes to the overall stage. The stage, I know for a fact, I've heard tracks from my micro SD card that has some beautiful mixes and recordings in it. With IEMs, I have heard a wider stage through these specific IEMs, but when I play it through this, it seems a bit restricted. It's almost like it wants to reach further out, but it just can't give you that kind of reach. Now, I do find this product to be relevant to a lot of people who are getting into the high-res world, who want something portable, you want something fancy looking, and it plays your high-res stuff. Now, I'm coming from a very different place where I've been using high-res digital stuff for the last well over a decade with my FIO X5 and iPods before that and so on. Now, my gripe with this kind of product in particular is that it's a DAP, it's a digital audio player, or call it even a dedicated audio player, if you will. This seems to be a little lacking when it comes to that region. So if you're able to look past some of the issues that this has, I think it's a great little player to have, because yeah, you can just plug in whatever you want to, your IEMs or your headphones or into a music player, plug it in, set it and forget it. Great. But if you're someone who is really particular about the finer details, these are some of the things that I found with this specific player. Now, as soon as I put in my micro SD card from my X5, I swapped it into this. It did play it. Thankfully, it didn't ask for a format, so it did play it through. Now, I didn't go straight into any other player like Hibi or VLC or whatever. I decided to go into the files folder to see what it can play natively. So when I did go into a few files, it just couldn't figure it out. Now, I have a whole bunch of ALAC files, FLAC files. There are 1 or 2 MP3 albums that I didn't play, but this was struggling with a few of them. In fact, 24 Karat Magic, Bruno Mars, it just played that whole track distorted and in slow motion. It's like there was a reading issue. It wasn't able to do that. So this is where I think they were relying more on the other apps that are there, like Hibi or VLC or whatever else, to play back your FLAC files. Because when I go into, let's say, VLC and it loads up the entire library, it plays it without a problem. To me, this seems a little bit lazy, because if you're making a dedicated audio player, it should be able to play these files natively without any issue, but it doesn't. Moving on, when I started playing some of my music and I plugged into the 3.5mm output, what was weird is through, well, a lot of the files I was listening to, when they start playing, it starts playing on the left channel and then shifts over to both sides. So it's like every track you skip to for like 0.2 or 0.5 seconds, it plays on the left channel and then balances out to both channels. This is something I've never experienced with any audio equipment, be it CD players or DAPs or iPods, you name it. And I mean, we're sitting in 2026, a dedicated audio player shouldn't be doing this. And then when I shift over to the balance cable, it does it the other way around. It plays on the right channel for that 0.2 to 0.5 seconds and then balances out to both channels. Again, it shouldn't be doing this, but I do find it a bit odd. Now, considering this is a dedicated audio player, my gripe with the new age stuff is that it's not really a dedicated audio player, because it's doing so much more. For example, the old iPods or the old FIOs that came were dedicated audio players. The systems weren't loaded to do things they weren't supposed to do. They were able to switch on, play your music flawlessly, switch it off. This, on the other hand, is loaded with so much other stuff, because it wants you to, have your music, for one, have pictures, have videos, have streaming capabilities, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It's loaded with stuff that I don't think a dedicated audio player should have. So much so, even on boot up, if you just want to, if you're talking to a friend and they ask you about a certain album or a certain song in an album, I know for a fact I can switch on my iPod or my FIO, open it, show it to them, try this album out and switch it off. That conversation will tend to get a lot longer if they're waiting for you, if you have to switch this on. So here's a quick sample to show you how long this specific player takes to switch on compared to the other two. So I've lined up my FIO X5. This must be about 12 years old by now. Amazing little old DAP. This is the new Audiocular Nexus, and this is an old iPod Nano. This must be about 14 or 15 years old, maybe more than that in fact. So I'll boot these two up at the same time. There we are. And I'll switch on the Nano. So the Nano, as you can see, is booted up almost immediately because there's practically nothing to boot up there. Over here, the FIO is already up and running, and the Nexus still has its sort of logo loading up. So this is what I find a bit strange, because they've loaded up a music player. It's supposed to be only a good music player handling music. It's basically just booting up a system that's not really needed. If you're talking about a dedicated DAP, this isn't one, because it's doing so much more. So I mean, this is all in real time. I've not slowed anything down, and there you go, it's finally booted. So I've very deliberately not gotten to a lot of technicalities like I normally do with a lot of my reviews, because I'm pretty sure if you really want to check it out, you'll click on the link down in the description. It'll take you to the website and you can read up about a lot of these details. But I just did want to give you a real world sort of understanding about this player, because these are the things that you'll feel, especially if you've been using older DAPs, or if you just want a very specific device that only handles your audio. Because let's face it, everything else, be it your video saving or your photos or watching YouTube and all that sort of stuff, is something you can do on your phone. And the whole point of a dedicated audio player is to disconnect you from all of that. I do like pressing actual buttons when I'm dealing with my music. It's more analog than it is, just swiping on a screen. So I myself do prefer that. But yeah, if you can look past all this, if you're somebody who wants something that is, all of this plus music, and you want to go into different apps and play around with certain things like in Hibi, there's a lot of customization you can do with your music. But again, this device is relying on a third-party app. It's not doing it natively. But yeah, otherwise, I'd say if you're okay looking past a lot of these sort of things that I don't think work out well for the product, it's fine. But otherwise, on a build front, it's genuinely very well built. It does have a very nice looking screen that may not be the most responsive out there. But yeah, I will say on an amping front, the amp chips they've used for these are genuinely sensational. So anyway, if you do want to buy this, I will leave the link down below. This does have an MRP of about 15,399 rupees, but you can buy this for about 9,490 from the Concept Cart website, of course, which I'll leave down below. And again, check out that link if you want to see more specifics about it. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you a slightly different perspective instead of the usual stuff. So anyway, I do hope this review has given you a better understanding for the Audiocular Nexus DAP, and I do hope that I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.